whatever. They were all different. Wasn't none of them talking about the same thing. But all 4 of them used the term Red Lobster biscuits. But they used it, look, I'm serious, they used it as a way to, as like a...
saying something's good.
An adjective, yeah. They're like, I'm telling you, man, that's Red Lobster biscuits. And 4 is not a high number, but 4 is a high number when you're when they say Red Lobster biscuits.
Yeah, man. Instead of LOL, it's RLB.
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 That's RLB, baby. Yeah. Happy Monday, August 31st, last day of August 2020. Meaning we are moving closer to the fall, seeing as September is tomorrow.
September 1 is like the opening day of being able to live again.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of been making it through.
Happily.
Don't get me wrong.
Live happily.
Don't get me wrong. I have enjoyed this summer. We got to go fishing. We got to go do a lot of stuff. We've got some work done. I mean, but at the same time, September 1 does not quit until next June.
No.
This is the opening to elk, deer, ducks, turkeys, squirrels, coons, whatever you want to go after.
College football.
College football, if we have that, looks like we are, but
yeah,
who knows in this crazy world we live in.
It's a lot of good things. I want to know, well, all right, let's do this before we dive into straight up talking. Speak the Language podcast. Before we get into talking about whatever in the world we're going to talk about, let's talk about things we need to mention to you first. First of that being Primos Truth About Hunting on Outdoor Channel.
Yes, sir. We rolling.
New shows still airing, plus everybody's been more excited because now everyone loves the deer episodes, right? We're in the deer episodes now. You can catch those like again on Outdoor Channel Sundays at 10:30 Eastern, Tuesdays at 6 Eastern. Is that right?
6 Central.
7 Eastern. 6 Central.
7 Eastern, 6 Central. And for y'all like me, it took me like 20 years to figure out this whole time zone stuff. If we say Eastern and you're in Mississippi, it's an hour before that.
Yeah. I'm still getting thrown off because our time slot on Sunday changed by an hour.
Yeah.
So, again, if you're used to watching Primos Truth About Hunting on Sunday nights, it still comes on Sunday nights, but it does not come on at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern anymore. It comes on at 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern.
Yeah, so I know that's thrown a lot of people off because
Shoot, it threw me off.
They go to watch it, and there's old Michael Waddell.
Yeah.
It's like, where's the Primos boy?
My man T-Bone.
You gotta wait an hour later.
Yeah. And so then as well, Primos YouTube. If you go to YouTube and type in Primos Hunting, we should be the first set of videos and channel to pop up. We're uploading episodes there every Tuesday morning. Those are being well received from what I can tell. And as it is, with it being September the 1st, I imagine as far as Primos social media goes, like just as far as much as we update stuff, we try to keep it fresh anyway, but it's going to get a lot more fresh with it being hunting season coming along.
Like cage-free chicken eggs. Fresh.
Organic.
Fresh.
Straight out the chicken and into your frying pan. Well, I say this is my goal, a goal for starting out with elk season, right? Is we always, people like live updates, right?
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't they? And we have enough people going to New Mexico this year, and then even when Brad and I peel off and go to Arizona, I want to do like as many constant updates on like the Instagram stories that share to the Facebook stories.
Yeah.
I want to do that on the Primos Instagram as much as we can, just because why not, right? I mean, we're out there hunting, having a good time, and so that's my goal, something we're going to try to step up our game on, keep y'all kind of in the loop on what's going on in the Elk Mountains, and then when we roll back from that, it'll be sweet, sweet deer season, right?
Yeah, I think we get back from elk hunting on the 25th or 6th of September, and deer season comes in here October 1st, so we got about a 4-day layover, and then we get to have some fun again.
Straight out the gate.
Yeah.
Straight out the gate.
And I got a good problem this year. We don't know where we're going to go hunting.
No, we don't.
For the first week. I got a good idea.
Yeah.
As far as for that first week of bow season.
I went yesterday afternoon and just kind of put some boots on the ground because I really haven't yet.
Yeah.
Just trying to get an idea. And I found some things that I thought were exciting.
Yeah.
Need to get some more trail cameras out just because, again, I mean, like, you forget what it's like when we were hunting cottonmouth so much. You kind of just, you didn't know, but you had a good idea where you needed to start. Like you're talking about coming out the gate that first week of bow season. You're like, well, this is a good spot to start out at. Whereas like here, we really don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, like this year with me and you, we've got the zoo to hunt on the weekends. And
yeah.
Like I'm fired up about that because we hunted out there last year and saw a pile of deer early season, and it should be that good this year again too.
I didn't know if I was going to tell people about that, but yeah, you're right.
I mean, that's where I'm planning on being opening week of bow season.
Das Zoo. Yeah, that place was pretty incredible. So not to like pull out any sour grapes or rub salt in a fresh wound, but we did have somebody inbox me, and they were like, "Man, you ever thought about doing a podcast just like straight up on dove season?"
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we could do that, but I don't know if Jordan will want to talk about it.
I think we did that last year. We talked about, our redneck way of prepping fields and stuff.
Did we talk about dove fields in
that? Yeah.
Which, I mean, we ain't got...
We can do it again.
Which, I mean, I don't think it could eat up a whole episode, but it definitely can talk about it. But there's a couple rapid fire questions that we got first. Because, again, when folks send in questions, we always try to cover them.
Mm-hmm.
One question, and this is they sent it in now, but it's going to be about November before anyone breaks out any rifles. But someone was asking, they said they were looking on YouTube and they saw a video on like what Jimmy's favorite deer rifle was or what Brad's favorite deer rifle was, but they wanted to know what our favorite deer rifle was as far as a caliber goes, which I think me and you probably have the same answer on that.
50 cal BMG.
Okay, we have different answers on that. 338 Lapua.
Oh, well, you're shooting a 6.5 this year, right?
It'd be hard to pull me away from my 308, but I'm gonna shoot it some.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, I shot a 270 growing up. I bought that gun at Walmart for like $275 when I was like 15 years old or 14.
Yeah.
And, man, I killed a pile of deer with that gun. And once I started doing this and learned more about the calibers and stuff and listening to Jimmy talk, because Jimmy, most people know this, but a lot of people don't know how in-depth he can get with rifles.
Way in-depth.
Dude is like Levi Morgan, when it comes to bows, you listen to what he says. If he's talking about how to tune bows and anything to do with bows, you listen to him. When Jimmy Primos starts talking about deer rifles, you listen to him.
Yeah, he knows.
And listening to him talk, he'll tell you the same thing. His favorite, deer rifle's either a 308 or a 7 mag.
Yeah.
And just something about that 30 caliber bullet, you can kill elk with that gun too on a 308.
Yeah, you can.
It's, in my opinion, the most versatile gun that you can buy one of them and hunt anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it would kill a moose too, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never done that. But as far as what we do, man, 308, it'd be hard to take that out of my hands.
That's what I've been shooting that for the past 4 deer seasons.
Yeah.
Or 5 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
308 usually with a 165 grain bullet.
Yep. That's a big thing too. A lot of people don't think about is your ammunition.
Dude, when you were talking about going to Walmart and buying a 270.
Yeah.
So first gun I ever shot a deer at was a 30-30.
Yeah, me too. That was my first deer rifle.
Lever action, but that was all like when I was really young. I didn't have to worry about anything. Like when it became deer hunting time, Dad said, "Here's your gun," and he already had the bullets and everything. I didn't have to think about anything. Then I got shot 30-06 some, shot a 270 some, and when I would run to Walmart or to Vans and Brandon or wherever to get if I needed ammo, I would just turn down the ammo aisle and look for a box that said 30-06 on it.
Yeah.
Or look for. I didn't pay attention to grain or ballistic tip. None of that.
Yeah.
I just saw my gun will shoot that, and I'd grab it.
So I know what you're talking about, and I learned that the hard way, because every year, like, me and my dad will shoot our rifles. We were good enough to shoot our rifles.
Right.
Like, we knew enough about it. We need to sight them in every year, whatever. And with my 270, it was a cheap gun, and just not. I mean, it killed a lot of deer with it. Don't get me wrong, but that sucker, it was very, very ammunition particular.
Yeah.
And I found that out when we were sighting in one year. I sighted it in with, I think it was some type of ballistic tip or something the year before. And the next year, I think I may have bought some core locks or something, and went to shoot it. And, like, I was spraying a shotgun pattern with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was every bit to do with those bullets. And I ended up going to Walmart and I bought some, I think it was Federal something or other, but finally found a bullet. Yeah, it was Federal Fusions. That's what it was. The first year they came out with those, I bought those.
They're a pretty popular load.
And, man, I shot that gun with those bullets. And, I mean, man, it made all the difference in the world. That gun went from shooting a 6-inch group at 200 yards to shooting, a 2-inch group.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think the ammunition does that.
Well, I mean, it's not as drastic as this, but I mean, you wouldn't just have a bow and then just grab whatever arrows, not pay attention to the spine. I mean, you wouldn't just go, my bow will shoot this arrow and not ever
it's like
take it to the range and see.
It's like getting arrows, that are 300 grains different.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference.
Especially when you start taking those longer shots. I've got a story talking about shooting your gun, because a lot of people don't do that. I've been guilty of it before. You're like, that's still on,
Mm-hmm.
I remember we must have been young, because this is when I was not allowed to hunt by myself yet, so I was probably like 14. Just kidding. But I was sitting with my pop, and my older brother, was hunting the same property, but he was a good ways away from us, and this is before iPhones or anything like that. We had walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
How we communicated. And we knew where Brett was. Brett knew where we were. And me and Dad are sitting there. We hear, and Dad's like, awesome. Brett got one. A few seconds go by.
I bet you didn't know at that time you could hear impact either.
No.
You were just hearing gunshots.
They're just hearing gunshots. And Dad, after the third shot, I think it was, Dad gets on the walkie-talkie. I was like, Brett, what's going on? Brett comes in. He's like, this doe's out here. I've been shot 3 times. She ain't even left. She's just looking up. She's just looking up in the air. And Dad's like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know. The crosshairs are on her. And he's like, well, the scope must be off. And I think he fired one more shot and tried to, look down the barrel, and he shot the ground, and deer jumped up and run off, and he didn't get the deer. And this is the same, 30-06, same 30-06 that I shot. It was my granddaddy's. I mean, it had been, I don't think that gun had been touched since Daddy Dole shot it. So we get back to the house, and Dad goes out there and gets a wooden stake and a white pie plate and hammers it into the ground, gets the 30-06, shoots at the pie plate, and there's not even any impact.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember. I think he may have gotten a cardboard box, something that was just a bigger target. And we figured the gun was shooting something stupid. It was shooting 2 feet high and 8 inches to the right. And he went to take take the cap off to adjust it, and the whole adjustment thing just fell off and hit the ground.
Oh man!
So we went to Walmart and grabbed a Tasco and bolted that thing on.
That those days, I remember stuff like that with my dad all the time. You know how he rolls, and there's always something interesting going on. But that brings those days doing that just brings back good memories. I mean, even though it was some crap going on, somebody didn't get a deer or something, but it was so much. Looking back on it now, it's so much fun.
Oh yeah. Which at that time, poor Brett didn't even know what to think, because I think he'd killed, like I said, we were young.
Yeah.
So I think he'd killed 3 or 4 deer at the time, and he had a pretty high success rate. I think he had 100% success rate up until then. So he didn't know what it was like to pull the trigger and the deer not, be dead. And then he shoots 3 times, and the doe's just out there sniffing the air, what is that loud noise?
Oh man, I shot at a buck one time. It was me and my college roommate Nathan. We were hunting on our back 40 over there. I used to always park at the road, and you'd walk back over this hill, and there was some clover and stuff that naturally came up in the wintertime. And man, you can just about count on it. You go back there and knock your doe down any day of the week.
Yeah.
Well, we was walking back out. We had somewhere to be that night, and come out early, and there was this buck standing up on the hill. He was like 200 yards. So I propped up on a tree, and I think I shot at that deer like 7 or 8 times. He never moved. I emptied the clip and plus put some more in it and kept on shooting at him. And still don't know what was wrong, but I think it was my ammunition deal, like what I backed up to.
Yeah. I've had several instances like that. I can remember there was like one time there was like a field. The whole field was planted in sweet potatoes. And obviously, when the field's planted in sweet potatoes, like a planted cornfield, deer out there. And me and Dad sat on the edge of it in some tall grass in metal folding chairs, just waiting.
Yeah.
And like right when we were about to, and I was like itty bitty. And I was like finicky. I got cold. I wanted to go home. And we stand up to leave. And when I stand up to leave, there's a doe like 40 yards away where I couldn't see, just looking at me. And I was like, Dad, there's a deer right there. And I'm pretty sure I missed that deer. Pretty positive. I think that was my first like miss. There were several more to come after in the following years, but that was the first time I tried. Because I tried to, the deer was very aware that we were there.
Yeah.
And I think she tried to bolt when I tried to pull my gun up, and then it just didn't work out. But, stuff like that happened way back when.
Back when I first started hunting, man, I probably missed just as many as I killed. I wasn't afraid to shoot at them, though, boy. I was slinging some lead at them.
Yeah. I remember those days. There was what else did someone ask a question about?
We started on, no, that was about hunting rifles, wasn't it?
Yeah, they asked about what my all right, so just flat out answer. Mine's going to be a 308, would be my favorite. I'm going to shoot a 6.5 some this year for sure, just to see what all the craze is about. That's what Brad's been shooting lately.
Yeah.
And had good success with it.
The 6.5, I've came to learn, it's very, like, if you're deer hunting with it, you need to really pay attention to your ammo.
Yeah. And where you shoot.
Because that's a lot of people use it for a long-range target rifle, so don't buy target loads. Buy a deer hunting load for it.
Because you've heard horror stories, somebody shooting them in the shoulder and not being able to find them, and you don't want to do that.
Just make sure you pay attention to the ammunition you buy if you got a 6.5 Creedmoor.
Yeah.
It's a dang good gun.
Yeah.
Very accurate gun, but you need to make sure you got a good load for knock down a big buck.
Ain't no doubt. One more thing. I think I mentioned this to you earlier when we weren't recording. I think somewhere, no, it would have been that embarrassment episode that we did. I think me and you may have started a trend. And I tell you why that is. I had over the past, since that episode, between then and now, I have had 4 different people message me about different subjects. They'd be talking about deer or bows or whatever. They were all different. Wasn't none of them talking about the same thing. But all 4 of them used the term Red Lobster biscuits. But they used it, look, I'm serious, they used it as a way to, as like a...
saying something's good?
An adjective, yeah. How to quantify something good is. Like someone said, they're like, I'm telling you, man, that's Red Lobster biscuits. And 4 is not a high number, but 4 is a high number when when they say Red Lobster biscuits.
Yeah, man. When it's good,
I just couldn't believe. I was like, the first person that sent that, I was like, man, that's funny. But then 3 more followed afterwards. I was like, is this a term now?
I don't know. Well,
man, when you put in all that work in the preseason and opening day of bow season, when you got that buck at 20 yards, that's Red Lobster biscuits right there.
Instead of LOL, it's RLB. RLB.
That's RLB, baby. Yeah. Opening day of dove season comes on and the field gets so filled up with doves that you can't keep your gun loaded. That's RLB.
That's funny.
That's
keep it going. Keep it going.
RLB, baby. We could talk about a dove field. Jordan won't know anything about it this year.
Why you keep putting salt on the wound, man?
Because it's funny.
It's uncontrollable circumstances for me.
So that's still happening, right? Like you're not coming dove hunting.
No.
Okay.
Unless y'all wait and shoot on Monday. I mean, that's what good friends would do. Because I'll be back Sunday, but I mean, I can't ask you to do that.
I can tell you. Do you want to know what would happen if the roles were reversed? If I couldn't come and you were going down there with Perry?
Oh, I would shoot the ever living mess out of
Okay,
him.
then. So don't give me that. That's what a good friend would do. They ain't no like, well, you'd be sitting now. Don't give me that mess. Ain't no way.
I hate it, but golly, it's been something. I think I have not missed the opening day of dove season in crap, man. I can't remember. You know, I've been doing it since I think I could walk. So this would probably be I started walking when I was about 6, and this would be about the...
What was you doing from age 1 to 5? Crawling and log rolling?
I was riding 3-wheeler. But I'm 30 years old, so I hadn't missed one in probably 28 years.
The only one I can think of that I missed is when I moved to Iowa for Midwest Whitetail, because I moved up there in August. That's the only one I can think of that I missed.
I mean, crap, we've been doing this annual dove hunt with you and Perry and all our buddies. You know, Perry makes us a field every year, and, you know, we've been doing this for...
5 years? 4 years?
Crap, I mean...
Well, y'all were doing it before me.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing it for at least probably 10.
Yeah.
So, it's a tradition that's very, very, very enjoyable every year that I look forward to, and I'm not getting to go.
That's why it's become one of my favorite weeks. Because I talk to people, especially when I was up there in Iowa, okay? And I was talking about, I brought up to the AJ and Lee and Warb, you know, that I saw all the time. I was just unhappy that I was missing dove season, and they just couldn't figure out why it was that much of a big deal to me. And I figured out
you've got to experience to know what it means.
Dove season pretty much in the southeast is different because it's like a whole weekend. You know, I mean, like, you know the deal. If you weren't going with your family to do whatever you're doing, we go to Perry's on Friday. We have a big cookout. We hang out. We sleep. We wake up the next morning. We shoot doves.
Yeah,
and we come in and we watch college football. That's usually the cadence.
Yep.
You know.
So I hate I ain't gonna get to do it. Maybe I'll make it somewhere Monday.
I don't know.
All I know is I got 2 cases of shells that have been sitting in my closet for a year, and they're feeling very unloved.
Yeah.
And my dog.
Poor Delta, man.
Delta, that is absolutely. Oops. It is time to wake up.
It's time to wake up.
Delta, man, she likes to duck hunt, and she loves trailing deer, and she freaking mesmerizes over dove hunting.
Yeah,
that's her freaking thing. She loves dove hunting.
Yeah, the first year that I had Knox, when I took him out there, it was that morning we were at Perry's, and I think it was the first dove I shot that morning. It was like the perfect dove for 4-month-old Knox to retrieve, because like I shoot the dove close and he falls like 15, 20 yards from me. And I could see little Knox just looking at it, and I'm like, yes, this is it, Knox. And his little legs go to scampering towards that dove. Dove's flopping around in the dirt, so he knows right where it is. And I'm just sitting there watching, anticipating, like, this is going to be awesome. Then out from the sideline, here comes Delta. Boom!
It's like a bolt of lightning.
Scoops him up. Just ruins that party.
I don't know if I ever told you, but I did that on purpose.
You didn't have to tell me. I already knew.
Oh.
Yeah. No, that wasn't cool. I had to like, Jordan, control your dog, man.
I'm sorry, she got away.
No, he was over there. Delta. It's going to be different without you being there, ain't no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, so, okay, we can ramble on dove season for a while. Let's talk about what we did last week. People are asking, especially more like, when y'all going to talk about deer stuff, deer prep stuff, you know, what's going on with just getting ready for deer season.
Here, hang on. I got a lung coming up. All right, I'm good.
COVID. So last week, we honestly didn't start as early as I would have liked to, but we did start working last week.
Yeah, I think I worked more on that daggone bush hog than I did actually doing anything with it.
Yeah. Well,
but
you know.
But you started bush hogging about a month ago, just whenever you could.
Mm-hmm.
We've had so much rain just off and on every few days, just enough where you can't really do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not super wet, but just makes the roads and stuff wet enough where you don't want to drive down them and tear them all up.
Especially with a tractor.
Yeah, that's what.
Rut it all up.
So, man, we started bush hogging last week, trying to prepare for season. We we normally at Cottonmouth try to be planting this week and next week every year, but with this year we just taking it a little precautious, and we don't know what to really expect, so we're going to put in our fall plots after elk season.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be putting in that 4-day window I was talking about, after we get back from New Mexico, and we'll be breaking ground and putting out seed that week. So
yeah,
it's going to be a little different than normal. We ain't going to have the bow plots to hunt over like we do every year, but the good thing is this year we've got acorn trees and mass crops. So
yeah.
I mean, food plots may not have done as well as they did at Cottonmouth as far as pulling in deer early season either.
I thought about that, because mass, other than pecan trees, but those weren't usually readily available.
That's a November
Yeah,
deal.
So come October when we had them bow plots up, that's why they were always doing so well.
Yeah.
Whereas like here, like you mentioned, acorn trees are not a limited factor.
Yeah, and you got to, I mean, all the kudzu and natural rudder browse out there. I mean, deer are still very much on a somewhat of a summer pattern, the first couple weeks here during October.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're changing up by the day, no doubt. But that first week or so, they're pretty much doing the same thing they did all summer.
Yeah.
I mean, it changes, depends on where you're at and what the food source available is. But if they still got real green browse, they're still on that heavily.
Big time.
Yeah.
And I've got to think, especially too, with as much as that is available, deer are probably not going to be moving a whole lot, especially if it's still hot.
You never know. I mean, you just don't know. It depends on how far they have to go from their bedroom to fill their belly and get some water,
Just an educated guess.
Yeah, that's all we got to do is go off a guess.
That's where, like I said yesterday, when I was kind of just putting some boots on the ground, looking around, I was just thinking, I was like, I haven't had to do this in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, because I was walking in a place that I had never been before, just trying to get an idea, spot some deer sign, trying to see what the deer were doing.
Well, I mean, like the deal with Cottonmouth, we kind of knew what areas to go in that we wouldn't hurt anything.
Yeah. And
knew what areas you don't go in. Yeah. And with here, we have no idea.
Yeah.
So
it's figuring it out.
Yeah.
The trial and error, like I found some spots I think might be good, which here is a good indicator. I found a spot had a really good trail going through it, and I started walking it up and just following and seeing, trying to figure out what they were doing, and my mind went, this is probably a pretty decent spot to hang a stand and just see what's going on. I was just over there looking around, and there was a really, really, really old tree stand already up right there.
There you go.
And I went, that's probably a good sign.
That's a telltale most of the time.
Yeah, because it looked like it had been there for a minute.
And then again, I have come to find out when you hang a stand next to one of them old stands, and you realize why that stand was never done anything with, because it didn't produce.
Yeah. They may have never gone in there and been like, eh.
Why they left it? Because they forgot about it, because they never went there.
Because it never went in there.
Yep.
It could go either way.
Yep.
Definitely could.
But it's usually a good sign.
Yeah. What it was, and this is, again, stuff we never dealt with Cottonmouth, which is why I went kind of scouting around yesterday, just because I wanted to have somewhat of an idea when the season actually opens, right? You don't want to be sitting there going, I don't know where to go. But we didn't have any steep creek bottoms.
Yeah.
And I was walking in the creek bottom, and this trail come out of there and went up a ridge, an actual ridge, not a cottonmouth ridge. And the ridge started out fairly wide and then necked down really, really tight. Mm-hmm. And where that ridge necked down tight, it was pretty steep on both sides, and that trail was just powered through there.
Nice.
And I was like, that looks pretty good.
I hope you marked that on Onyx.
I absolutely marked it on Onyx.
You better have.
I did.
Since we share an account, that way I can see where it is.
That's where I put it there. But it was a good, and so it's stuff you won't find, and if you don't get out there and look around a little bit,
Yeah.
And which now is kind of the time of year to be doing it. You don't want to be just bailing through the woods when the season's in.
Man, what did we do before we had these apps to be able to mark spots?
I don't know. I really don't.
I was thinking about that the other day because I was mapping some stuff at the zoo where we're going to put in a food plot. And, I was like, what did we do when we had to, I mean, this is not like it's an old deal, 6 years ago we didn't have this stuff.
Mm-mm.
And, I mean, there was a few different apps and stuff available where you could, map in properties and this kind of stuff. But golly, it's gotten so useful.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that yesterday, because if there was a time where maybe you're going to be down there and I'm not, and if I wanted you to be like, hey, go check out that spot and see what you think. I think it looks good. I would either, one, try to give you a detailed directions of how I got there, or two, if I had some flagging tape on me, I would put a flag up, and I could get you to a general spot, and then you could follow the flags where I was.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely made it user friendly for if you're in a camp or something like that. You can have an account just for the camp, and when people mark spots, if you're in a camp that shares locations with each other and tries to do this as a team, it's such a useful tool. But I was just thinking about that the other day. Golly,
well, I thought about it literally yesterday because I was like, I wanted you and probably Brad, everybody, see that spot, see what they thought, because I got fired up about it.
Yeah, man, it's pretty incredible.
So, and it was no more than just I didn't have to flag or leave anything. I just dropped a pin and then I marked my trail out, which I don't think the trail the way it is right now is the easiest way to get to it, but I'm not certain that's the best way to get to it as far as hunting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Got you.
That I don't know yet.
And you know what I did about a month ago talking about Onyx is like when we were riding that new place, I put on that track, and when I was in the buggy, I tracked every road I went down. So that takes out a lot of guesswork when you're putting in roads on the map.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because I did that. I did kind of a modified version of that the other day. So that bow plot you put in.
Yeah.
So look, let me frame this up so the people are listening to us. We're maybe talking in code to some people. So I was riding in. I had to drive into town to get a pin because Jordan done tore up the bush hog. And I was coming back when Jordan took out. He said, "Hey, I put an awesome bow plot in. Why don't you go check it out?" I'm like, "All right." So I drive down in there and I look and I'm like, "Yeah, this is awesome." And I pulled up Onyx. You didn't have it marked yet.
Yeah.
And not everyone has to do this. This is probably for extreme detail, but I didn't want to just kind of guess the shape of the plot when I mapped it in. So I walked the full perimeter and left a track on it.
I'm so proud of you.
And then what I did, instead of just leaving a track because I wanted them to all look uniform, but then I had that track as the shape to go off of, then I went and drew my lines over it. So the plot on the Onyx is identical. You know what I mean?
I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Dad.
I'm finally learning you something.
Well, I'd come up with that on my own. Boy.
You know how OCD I am on these food plots.
Well, I mean, it works because when you put it, so like some places, if the plot's been there for a while, it'll show on the aerial photo, right?
Yeah.
Well, this one was new.
Yeah, so you can't see nothing but trees.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, you'd put it in there an hour before, so it's not going to be on your Onyx, not laid out like that. So so now it's as accurate as that tracker can be. It's the shape of that food plot.
Man, that's good. That's going to be it's definitely a useful tool.
Yeah. It's coming along, though, man. Like I said, it hit me yesterday, and I was like, dove season next week.
It's this weekend, yeah.
This weekend, and then right into that, we leave for elk next Wednesday?
Wednesday, I think. The 10th. Whenever the 10th is, we're hitting the road. Jimmy was in here a while ago talking about what time we need to leave to be able to go to his barbecue joint.
Those summers get shorter every year, I feel like.
Yeah, man. It's been a lot of people can relate to what, this summer's been totally different than every other summer that I've experienced, just with everything you have to do to be out in public and, the restrictions on everything. And, we couldn't go do the normal stuff we do because, a lot of people don't realize exactly what we do when we're in the office, but me and you and Troy and Slade, we're all behind computers every day, editing and putting together videos and shooting videos. And like something different that we had to do this year was we put together a virtual sales show.
Yeah.
And even last year, who would ever thought you'd be doing that, you know?
I thought about it the other day because I stopped at a gas station, and here's the process that went through my mind. I was like, man, within a matter of months, not a year, couple months, we went from thinking we got to wear a mask to you pull up to a spot, you're like, oh man, do I have my mask on me? To whereas like now, like when I got in the car, when I got in my truck this morning, I was like, all right, I got my mask. It's sitting there on the, I mean, like now it's just become a thing. Like you make sure you got your mask because if you're going to go in somewhere, you got to have that thing on.
Yeah.
It's been a wild, wild year.
Yeah, it has. I hope and pray, man, this deal's coming to an end sometime soon. You know, It's been so detrimental to a lot of people. I hate it. I pray, you know, I know the good Lord's got it under control, and, you know, we may not know exactly what he's doing with this, but he's got to have faith that he knows what's up. You know, he knew it was happening before it ever did.
That we'll come out the other side.
Yep.
Lord willing, get back to a normal life. But I think that's about all we can cover for today, we think.
Man, we hit a lot of bases. We definitely need to hit home what our plans are in New Mexico next week.
Yeah.
So that'll be the plan. Next Monday, y'all, we'll have one out talking about elk hunting.
That'd be it. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. As always, if you couldn't tell from this episode, we're into answering y'all's questions. We don't always get to them, like, super quick. I would like to, but that's just isn't always the case. But please don't hesitate to send them in. We will answer them. We will get to them. You can hit the Primos Instagram. You can hit Jordan or myself's personal Instagram. Does not matter. Just don't hesitate to send them in. And that's all we got for this week. As always, thank you for listening to the Speak the Language podcast.